It is an embarrassment for the sport. SEC, Big Ten still at odds over future format of the college football playoff. A growing rift at the top of college football. College football, long celebrated as one of America's most passionate and tradition-rich sports, finds itself once again embroiled in controversy at the highest administrative level. As the sport prepares for the expanded era of the college football playoff (CFP), tensions between its two most powerful conferences, the Southeastern Conference (SEC) and the Big Ten, have escalated to a point many insiders now describe as damaging. What was supposed to be a collaborative effort to modernize and stabilize the postseason structure has instead devolved into a public standoff. Conference commissioners, athletic directors, coaches, and media analysts have all weighed in, with one particularly blunt assessment echoing across the sport. It is an embarrassment for the sport. That phrase, reportedly uttered by a senior college athletics administrator, captures the growing frustration felt across college football as negotiations over the future format of the college football playoff stall yet again. The CFP expansion, from unity to division. The college football playoff was originally created to solve one of the sport's biggest problems, determining a true national champion. While the four-team format brought clarity, it also introduced new controversies, especially around exclusion, subjectivity, and conference bias. To address those concerns, CFP leaders agreed to expand the playoff beginning in the mid-2020s. A 12-team playoff was initially celebrated as a breakthrough, promising greater access, more meaningful games, and increased revenue across the sport. However, as discussions turned from whether to expand to how the expanded playoff should be structured, fault lines began to appear. At the center of the disagreement are two competing visions. One favored by the SEC, emphasizing flexibility, strength of schedule, and at-large selections. Another pushed by the Big Ten, prioritizing automatic qualifiers, conference champions, and competitive balance. Sex position, reward the strongest conferences. The sex stance is grounded in a familiar argument: the best teams should always get in, regardless of conference affiliation. SEC leadership has consistently pointed to its dominance in national championships, NFL draft production, and overall strength of schedule. From their perspective, any playoff format that limits the number of SEC teams, especially in favor of weaker conference champions, undermines the credibility of the postseason. SEC supporters argue the playoff should prioritize quality over geography. Automatic bids risk allowing inferior teams into the field. Elite teams from top conferences should not be penalized for tougher schedules. To many within the SEC, the playoff is about crowning the best team in the country, not creating artificial parity. Big Ten's counterargument: fair access and structure. The Big Ten sees things differently. While acknowledging the SEC's recent success, Big Ten officials believe college football must protect the integrity of competition across all conferences. They argue that automatic qualifiers are essential to maintaining national interest and preventing the sport from becoming a closed club dominated by a handful of leagues. From the Big Ten's perspective, conference championships should matter. Every power conference deserves a clear path to the playoff. Fans across the country must feel their teams have legitimate postseason hopes. Big Ten leaders worry that a purely at-large system would concentrate power even further, turning the CFP into an SEC invitational and eroding long-term fan engagement. Power struggles behind closed doors. While public statements remain diplomatic, insiders describe CFP meetings as increasingly tense. Negotiations have reportedly stalled multiple times, with neither side willing to compromise on key issues such as number of automatic qualifiers, seeding criteria, influence of conference strength metrics, control over future CFP governance. What once felt like a shared mission has become a power struggle over the sport's future direction. One athletic director from a non-SEC, non-Big Ten conference summed up the mood bluntly. The adults in the room are acting like rivals instead of stewards of the game. Impact on other conferences. Perhaps the most troubling aspect of the dispute is how it sidelines the rest of college football. The ACC, Big 12, and Group of Five conferences find themselves largely at the mercy of decisions made by the SEC and Big Ten. While they participate in discussions, their influence is limited compared to the sport's two financial giants. Many administrators from these conferences fear that CFP access will become increasingly restricted. Revenue gaps will widen. Competitive imbalance will become permanent. For programs outside the SEC and Big Ten, the playoff is not just about championships, it is about survival in an evolving landscape shaped by realignment, and media deals. Fans and coaches voice frustration. The ongoing stalemate has not gone unnoticed by fans or coaches. Social media platforms are filled with criticism, with many questioning why college football leadership struggles to implement reforms that other sports have managed with relative ease. Several coaches, speaking anonymously, have expressed concern that players are caught in the middle of administrative disputes. Uncertainty complicates recruiting and scheduling. The sport's image is suffering. One Power 5 coach put it simply, "We're selling chaos when we should be selling competition. Media rights and money at the core." At the heart of the CFP debate lies an uncomfortable truth: money. The expanded playoff represents billions in future media revenue, and both the SEC and Big Ten have positioned themselves to maximize their shares. With massive television contracts already in place, the playoff format is viewed as the next frontier of financial leverage. Critics argue that financial incentives are outweighing competitive considerations. The sport's governance structure lacks accountability. Short-term gains are being prioritized over long-term stability. This financial arms race has only intensified distrust between conferences. Why? Embarrassment is the word of the moment. Calling the situation an embarrassment for the sport reflects more than just frustration, it signals a deeper concern about leadership. College football prides itself on tradition, passion, and pageantry. Yet the inability of its leaders to reach consensus on a playoff format exposes structural weaknesses that many believe threaten the sport's credibility. Observers point out, negotiations have dragged on far longer than necessary. Messaging to fans has been inconsistent. Decision-making appears reactive rather than visionary. In an era where college athletes face constant scrutiny and pressure, administrative dysfunction sends the wrong message. What happens if no agreement is reached? The stakes are high. If the SEC and Big Ten remain deadlocked, potential consequences include delayed implementation of future CFP formats, legal disputes over governance authority, increased fragmentation of the sport, renewed speculation about a breakaway Super League. Some analysts believe continued gridlock could push college football closer to a professional-style model, with fewer conferences wielding disproportionate control. A defining moment for college football. The college football playoff was created to unify the sport around a clear championship pathway. Today, that same system risks becoming a symbol of division. Whether leaders can move past conference pride and financial ambition to protect the sport's broader interests remains an open question. What is clear, however, is that the current state of affairs has left many fans, players, and administrators deeply disappointed. College football stands at a crossroads. The decisions made now will shape the postseason, and the sport itself, for decades to come. As one longtime observer warned, if the people running college football can't figure this out, they shouldn't be surprised when fans stop believing in the system altogether. Conclusion: the ongoing disagreement between the SEC and Big Ten over the future college football playoff format has become more than a policy debate. It is a test of leadership, vision, and responsibility. Until common ground is found, the phrase, "an embarrassment for the sport," will continue to resonate, serving as a stark reminder that even the most beloved games can be undermined by those entrusted to protect them.